What's up, everybody? Snowman here. Got a question for you. Have you ever thought about starting your own podcast? When I was trying to get this podcast off the ground, I had a lot of questions. How do I record an episode? How do I get my show on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and all the other places people like to listen? How do I make money from a podcast? And believe me, I've asked that question a dozen times, maybe more. The answer to every one of these questions is really simple. Anchor. Anchor is a one-stop shop for recording, hosting, and distributing your podcast. Best of all, it's 100% free and ridiculously easy to use. And now Anchor can match you with great sponsors too, so you can get paid to podcast. How about that? Get paid to podcast. Something I've wanted to do for a long time, and now with Anchor, I have a chance to do it. This process is very simple. So if you always wanted to start a podcast and make money doing it, go to anchor.fm/start. That's anchor.fm/start to join me and the diverse community of podcasters already using Anchor. That's anchor.fm/start. I can't wait to hear your podcast. Promote this one while you're at it. And if someone asks, tell them Snowman sent you.
For our next attraction,
you're listening to the Snowman in the Morning podcast.
Can't wait.
Hey, folks, don't forget to follow the show online. You can find us on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat, as well as Pinterest. The ID you need is SITM, the number 9, TONOON. That's SITM, 9 to noon. Now, let me welcome a good friend of mine and the host of the Sports Report podcast. He joins me right now. This is William Morgan, and he's on the hotline right now. What's up, my man? How are you?
How are you, man? Thank you for having me here. I appreciate it.
Hey, good to finally get you on. Our schedules coincided, and I finally get a chance to get you on the air. And I knew this guy was cool because he bears the name of my late father. He bears the first name of my late father, which is William. So I knew he was ultra cool, and I had to have him on. All right, man. Let's get down to some business, shall we? The conference championships are this weekend. AFC sees the Tennessee Titans and the Kansas City Chiefs. NFC sees the Green Bay Packers and the San Francisco 49ers. And I'm going to start with that one. Who would have thunk it that in 1 year's time, the 49ers would go from a 4-win team to a 13-win team? And not only that, they're not only in the NFC Championship game, they are hosting it in Santa Clara.
Well, that goes to show you what drafting, planning, and a little bit of help from the Patriots can really do for you.
I mean, they basically gave Jimmy Garoppolo away because he was the successor to Tom Brady. But since Garoppolo has been in the Bay, he has put up some great numbers. He's come back almost in full from his injury. He's played every snap this season, the regular season and postseason. And now, for him being a first-year full-time starter in the NFL, he's hosting a conference championship game with a chance to go to the Super Bowl. But it's more than about Jimmy G for the 49ers. Let's start on offense with that fantastic running game.
Well, it's a triple-headed monster there in San Fran. I love Mostert a lot. Breeder's okay. Coleman's okay, but I really like Mostert a lot. They also had a little help from the Denver Broncos while we're talking about it with Emmanuel Sanders. So Kittle being one of the best tight ends in the league. They got a lot going on offense. The weakness to me, though, with the exception of a few games, would be Jimmy G.
And why do you think that is?
You have to, it looks to me at certain points in times, at junctures at games, he can be rattled. And his accuracy hasn't been the best. My faith man looked like a Hall of Famer. But when you look at that Falcons game, he wasn't on point when they lost to the Falcons. He wasn't really on point. He wasn't really on point when he lost to the Ravens. So to me, I would play 8 in the box. Get him to beat me over the top. If he beats me, he beats me. But it won't be because of that running game beat me. Because once that running game gets getting going, you're gonna run time off that clock and put your offense in a difficult position.
And put offenses in difficult positions is what they have been doing. And They did it to Seattle. They did it to Minnesota last Saturday. And let's take a look on the defensive side of that ball. That defense for San Francisco is absolutely dynamite.
Yeah. Particularly when they get a lead. Because all they got to do, all those pass rushers have to do is pin their ears back and go for a quarterback when they have that lead. When they don't have a lead, when they're playing from behind, that's a little bit different. But when they have that lead, you just pin their ears back, go straight for any quarterback that's out there.
And the biggest thing about this 49er defense, they are now fully healthy for the first time in about 5 weeks. Everybody is back. And, yeah, the Packers are going to get their right tackle back, Brian Bulaga, but I don't think Brian Bulaga has seen the 49ers defense in full measure. Everybody is back, and everybody's itching to play on Sunday night.
Yep. And the problem to me for Green Bay, I don't see how they can score the football on a consistent basis because Aaron Rodgers isn't mobile as he used to be. He's not as accurate as he used to be. Age has taken a factor to take that a little bit away from him, but I don't know if Green Bay can score consistently enough to win this football game. I really don't.
Let's look at the AFC title game. The Tennessee Titans, a number 6 seed, first time a 6 seed has gotten to a conference title game since 2010. They faced the number 2 seed Kansas City Chiefs. And after the show that Patrick Mahomes put on last Sunday, rallying his team from a 24-0 deficit, you have to believe they are the favorites in this game.
Yeah, they have to be the favorites, but I still say Tennessee might give them some problems. Derrick Henry is no joke. You're going to get a healthy dose of him. You're going to get he needs 25 to 30 carries. And
I would say 30.
They can control the clock.
Yeah,
they can control the clock. They can control that clock and make sure my homeboy don't get on the field and shine circle like the
And you know what Tennessee did? They controlled the clock, like you said. They fed Derrick Henry the ball, and the Chiefs are going to get a look at him. The Baltimore Ravens got a look at him, and Derrick Henry actually threw a touchdown pass last Saturday night in Baltimore. So Baltimore got a heavy dose of Derrick Henry. The New England Patriots got a heavy dose of Derrick Henry. You have to believe the Chiefs are going to get a very heavy dose. I wouldn't be surprised if he carries the ball more than 30 times on Sunday afternoon.
Yeah, he's going to carry it. He's going to have to carry the rock. And the thing that bothers me about Kansas City is the Kansas City run game. They've shown that they can throw the football consistently for Travis Kelce, Tyreek Hill, and etc. But at some point, you're going to have to start to run the football. And they haven't been the same running the football since Hunt left.
Yeah.
So it's going to be Kansas City should win this game, but the Titans can cause you some problems.
Mm-hmm.
They play decent enough on defense, play decent enough on the back end, and that's defense is not Kansas City's forte at all. So the Titans can cause them some problems. KC should win this game, but it's going to be tough because Tennessee's going to muddy it up. They're going to make it tough. They're going to be physical with them, and we're going to really see what that offense can do once they're challenged physically. They can finesse all they want in that Andy Reid system, but when it comes down to playing tough, grind-nosed football, Tennessee's going to bring it to you. And they play just good enough to give those boys some problems.
Let's take a look at some of the coaching hires in the NFL, and I start in Dallas. They finally got rid of Jason Garrett. You and I have spoken about this online and off the air. Mm-hmm. And then Mike McCarthy comes in, which brought two questions to my mind. Number one, how much control is Jerry Jones going to surrender to Mike McCarthy? And number two, is he going to fully allow McCarthy to implement his system? Do you think this was a good coaching hire for Dallas?
No, I don't think it was a good coaching hire at all. When you go back and look at Mike McCarthy, true, he does have that one Super Bowl ring. Can't take that away from him. He is a good coach. But if you go back and look at it, when he was at Green Bay, he didn't care about the defense. He did not care about the defense at all. And in the run game, while it did play a part, it wasn't as prominent as his passing game. So now you come into a team with Ezekiel Elliott, he doesn't really like to run the football like that. So he's going to have to make some changes in that regard. And as far as Jerry Jones goes, his ego won't allow any coach to come in there and do what they need to do. So it's still going to be the same old. Now, Mike McCarthy might be a little better X's and O's wise, but I still think it's going to be the same thing that you had with Jason Garrett. McCarthy might not clap his hands all the time, be the ultimate, clipboard clapper, but at the same point, he's not going to have the power to do what he needs to do to make that team great. And I look at another 8-8, maybe 7-9 season. The team that paid Dak Prescott. If they paid that Prescott, your personnel is going to suffer. Your personnel is going to take a hit.
Mm-hmm.
So they're probably looking at 7-9, 8-8. I don't see them being great.
No.
I'm one of the proponents to let Dak walk. That's just me.
Yeah.
But I'm not paying a quarterback all that money. Perfect example with Dak. Go back and look at that New Orleans game. He threw a Hail Mary from the 10-yard line, and it went to the 50.
Mm-hmm.
Bruh, come on. I can't do it. I can't say a quarterback has some money.
I've said it on this program, and I know you've heard it. Dak Prescott, to me, is not worth the money. And he continues to prove he continues to prove that by not leading his team. He had a chance in Week 17 to close things out, clinch the NFC East, and granted, he won that game. Let me back up a week. He had a chance to close out the NFC East in Philadelphia, in enemy territory, and he did not get it done. And in fact, if I'm correct, I think Dak in his career is 0 for Lincoln Financial Field.
I think he is. And another thing, too, that loss to the Jets should have never happened either.
Yeah, there's no way they should have lost. There's no way they should have lost to the Jets in the Meadowlands. Not a chance.
And see, when you look at Dallas as a whole, you look at the fact that the defense is better than it was before, and the defense didn't show up this year for the most part. DeMarcus Lawrence, when you needed DeMarcus Lawrence the most, he didn't show. And how much money did you pay him?
Enough.
Yeah.
More than enough.
I can't do it, man. I can't sign off on Dallas.
No.
Just for those reasons.
Look at the New York Giants and the coaching hire with Joe Judge. And unless you are entrenched in the Northeast, unless you're entrenched in that area, the rest of the country is sitting there going, who?
Yeah. And this shows you too that the Rooney Rule is a joke.
It is a joke.
The only black candidate I know of that really got a good look at that was Marvin Lewis. Nothing against Marvin Lewis, but really,
yeah,
really.
And I wrote an article for the Inscriber magazine. I'm glad you mentioned that Rooney Rule. That Rooney Rule is a joke, and it needs to be abolished. And I'm old school, and I always think, you hire the best man for the job. I am not concerned about race, color, creed, or religion. I never have been. And I know there's a lot of people that have been proponents of the supposed fact that they are in the NFL, and, a part of me is allowed to think that, part of me is not allowed to think that. And like I said, I'm old school to the bone. Wouldn't you think you would try to hire the best candidate? Now that we're talking about the Rooney Rule, wouldn't you think you would just try to find the best person that fits your system? And my friend Dante Pryor said it best. It's a way to check a box. Here's the problem. The box is still not being checked, especially with just interviews.
Right. But here's the thing, and I'm glad you brought that part up. When you go back and you look at it, nothing against Joe Judge. I don't know the man. Nothing against Joe Judge at all.
Right.
But when you go back, you have more qualified assistants in that pipeline.
Mm-hmm.
That would have been a better hire to me than Joe Judge. Now, he may come out and be great. He may take the role of Jim Harbaugh and just run away with it. That is a possibility.
It is.
But to me, it doesn't seem that that's going to be the case. And now it's going to be kind of interesting too when we bring up the Giants with Jason Garrett being the OC. Let's see what he does.
Yeah, that's really going to be interesting. Everybody is waiting to see what Joe Judge does. Now, let's switch gears and talk NBA, and I want to start in Brooklyn with all the ballyhoo. how long have you known me to just not ignore the hard hitting stuff? I've had people tell me, all the time, you just hate the NBA. You're not posting any facts. I've done nothing but post facts, and what I said was this: Brooklyn made not one mistake but two mistakes in signing Kyrie Irving and Kevin Durant. I loved Kevin Durant when he was in OKC, loved him even more when he was with the Golden State Warriors. In fact, the best Kevin Durant played in Golden State. Now you got an injured, physically and mentally, Kyrie Irving, who I don't think we'll see again this season, and I don't think you'll see Durant for another season. It's a mess in Brooklyn right now.
It's a mess between the injuries and lack of leadership in that organization. It's a mess. And for them to be winning games the way they are is really a testament of the roster that they did put together. Spencer Dunwilly's playing very, very, very well. I hope to get Chris LeVert back at some point. They do have some good players down there, and those boys are winning despite the situation. But I agree with you. With Kyrie's injuries, Kevin Durant not being there, we probably won't see him until next year. And when you do see him next year, how is he going to hold up to the criticism? And it's just a bad situation, man. I get it. You're trying to win. You're trying to win now. But I would have maybe signed Kevin Durant, kept Kyrie, and not bring Kyrie in because of the fact Kyrie is more of a malcontent than Kevin Durant is.
He is. He is. I mean, Kyrie wanted to be the man in Boston. Didn't quite work out that way. He hits a championship-winning shot in Cleveland, and I understand fully, and yes, I'm going to go there with this one. I know you're going to help me. I understand fully about wanting to be out of LeBron's shadow. I get it. I completely get it. I absolutely get it. As a matter of fact, if I were Dan Gilbert and LeBron said, I want to come back to Cleveland, I'd have told him no. Because you already had your centerpiece in Kyrie Irving. Kyrie was supposed to be the man in Cleveland. And LeBron messed that up. He messed it up.
Right. And he's the younger of the two also. Let's just bring that in mind. He was the younger of the two. Mm-hmm. So you could have rolled with him a little bit. You could have rolled with Kyrie a little bit longer than you could have.
Absolutely. And now he's been to Boston. That didn't work out. Now he's in Brooklyn. That's not working out. Could be wrong about the situation in Brooklyn, but the way it looks right now, it hasn't worked out. And staying with the Nets, while we talk NBA, what have they done since they moved from New Jersey to Brooklyn? Not a thing.
Mm-hmm. Nothing. Playing 500 ball, winning in spite of the fact of their weaknesses. Playing 500, maybe a little bit above 500 ball is all they really been doing. And again, testament to that roster. Mm-hmm. For them being as successful as they are, because it could be worse. It could be a lot.
It could be a lot worse. Speaking of a lot worse, it just got a lot worse in Los Angeles as Rob Pelinka.
Oh my goodness!
The Lakers promoted. Listen, the Lakers promoted Rob Pelinka, and my question is why?
I don't get it either. I don't get Jimmy Buss's loyalties. I really, really don't. You chose him essentially over Magic Johnson, and I don't get that because Magic Johnson cares about the team. I think that was wrong. Pelinka cares about it himself and making a name for himself. Off the LA Lakers. I don't think he cares. I don't think he has the heart for the team that Magic has. And like I said, to me, Pelinka is a snake. I'm talking about, I don't want the position. But again, still when the offer came for you to take the position, you take it. Look, man,
it's terrible.
A snake's a snake, and that's exactly what he is. Mm-hmm. And he was the reason I think Magic ended up leaving.
Yep.
And it's a damn shame because Magic you can still say Magic is the face of that franchise. And I know you'll get an argument of him being the greatest Laker or not. Some people put Kobe in that distinction. Some people put Kareem in that distinction.
I actually have three greatest Lakers. I have four. I'll give you 4.
Mm-hmm.
Matter of fact, I'll make it a full. I'll make it a full quintet. Jerry West,
Agreed.
West, Wilt Chamberlain, Magic
Agreed.
Johnson, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, and the most underrated one of my quintet, James Worthy.
Oh, no disrespect to James. No disrespect to James.
Right.
One of the most respected players in the league.
He's a Hall of Famer, and he's still underrated. He's still underrated.
Very much so. But you put James Worthy over Kobe?
In this case, slightly. I understand Kobe has. Here's my reasoning.
Okay.
These are players I grew up watching.
I understand.
With Magic, James Worthy, Magic, James Worthy, and Kareem. I am not disrespecting Kobe Bryant at all. I never will. Okay, right. Please understand where I'm coming from, folks. It's just when and playing basketball myself, one of my favorite positions to play was a forward. Kobe's a guard. Mm-hmm. All right? Mm-hmm. And me, I put Kobe just under the original number 23, and we'll get into that in just a moment. But James Worthy, to me, and because he's underrated, is why I give him a slight tick above Kobe. And I say very, very slight because they both have impacted the franchise in so many different ways.
Yes. I get it. You know, I'm 48 years old. I saw all those guys play. So I get it. I understand. You still there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay. I get it. I understand. I've seen all those guys play as well. Is apples and oranges between the two.
It is.
I get it. With me, I will go with Kobe.
Mm-hmm.
Just for the fact that he was such a dynamic force.
Yeah. And I'm not going to argue.
Particularly in his prime.
I'm not going to argue. I can't argue either. You can't argue either way. You can't argue either way. And another Laker I can put on that list. Since we're going to put Kobe on that list, we got to put Shaquille O'Neal on that list.
Yeah.
We got to put Shaquille O'Neal on that. We got to put Shaquille O'Neal on that greatest Lakers list. Now, no matter how you do it, if you put together an all-time Lakers team, that all-time Lakers team can hold their own with anybody throughout history. Easy.
They can hold their own with anybody in history if you put an all-time team together.
Easy.
Really
it doesn't matter who you put. It doesn't matter who you put on the floor. I got a friend. His name's Cole Johnson, and he used a term that I'm now starting to use. What is up with all these bronzexuals?
Here's the thing that gets me. Here's the thing that gets me with bronze. And I know you have to have talent to win.
Yes.
Not saying that you don't.
Right.
When you look at stars in the past, when you look at the Jordans, the Birds, the Magic, they all had help to win. I get that. The thing that kills me with these bronze and these Lakers fans, every time somebody comes up in free agency, don't no other team matter but the Lakers. Don't no other team matter but the Lakers.
You noticed?
Yeah.
You noticed?
Yes. The Lakers had one trade asset. One. And that's Kyle Kuzma. One. They don't know. Look here, Lakers fans, I'm sorry to tell you, nobody wants Gerald Dudley. No one wants KCP. Nobody wants none of them.
No.
You have one trade asset. Now, I'm a Bulls fan. And they're so we could trade JCT and Gerald Dudley to get Zach LaVine. How ridiculous.
No, I wouldn't do it. What would halt the progress of the Bulls that they're making right now? And I still believe they're going to sneak into the playoffs this year. This is a young, hungry Bulls team, and they're finally starting to turn the corner and grow up. But back to these bronzexuals. I said something on Facebook a few years ago after the Cavaliers played the Golden State Warriors on a Christmas Day game. I said that Draymond Green was a better forward than LeBron James. Do I need to tell you the pushback I got that day?
I can imagine what you got. I'll imagine what you got, man.
Can you imagine? Can you imagine the pushback I got? And still continue to, every time I mention LeBron in a negative light, I still get pushback to this day. And someone had asked me, what's one thing that Michael Jordan has that LeBron doesn't has? I said, I'll give you 3 extra rings and a Defensive Player of the Year award.
Yep. and not to mention, MJ had that killer instinct. We saw the Kobe a little bit too.
Yes.
But those guys had that killer instinct. The biggest difference. Look how they talk to a referee.
Mm-hmm.
You go back and look at Jordan. Jordan is intense. He's in the game.
Yep.
LeBron is crying to get every call he can get. Dude, come on.
And 3/4 of the call, and 3/4 of the calls he doesn't deserve to get anyway because he initiates the contact.
Exactly. And he learned he learned the flop from Volley Divac. She's the best flopper I've ever seen in my life. 6'9", 260 flopping.
Someone had asked me, listen, what's LeBron missing? Okay, I'll give you 2 items there too. A jump shot and a post game.
Exactly.
Can I get a witness here? A jump shot and a post game.
You got a witness? You got a witness right here, my friend. You got a witness right here.
If LeBron ever developed a post game the same way MJ did, Magic Johnson, James Worthy, as I mentioned, Scottie Pippen, you're a Bulls fan, you know the name Scottie Pippen. If he developed a post game like any of those guys, like Larry Bird, Kevin McHale, all right, do I need to go on? All the old schoolers that you and I grew up watching. Even Reggie Miller, who had a jump shot out of this world, worked the post. If LeBron ever developed a post game, he would be absolutely dynamite. And I'd give him the credit he deserves. But he doesn't deserve it because he tries to flop his way to the free throw line. James Harden, I hope you're listening. He tries to bully his way to the hoop.
If you look at today's game, the thing that's messed up is the fact that when you look at a Jordan, you look at a Magic, you look at a Bird, the fundamentals are taught. And when they learn the fundamentals, you're that much more of a better player. Today, these guys are trying to Steph Curry it. They want to go out there, run and grind, shoot. If they miss, they don't try to rebound, they miss, they go down the floor and play defense. They're not taught the fundamentals of basketball, and that's what's hurting the game.
You must have heard me say it on this program so many times over that the fundamentals are missing in the NBA today. And I take Steph and Clay out of that equation for this reason. Their offense is designed around them. The way they get so many shots is within the flow of their offense. They do work the ball inside before it comes outside. You can't say that about Houston. You can't say that about Oklahoma City. You sure as hell can't say that about the Clippers, although Kawhi Leonard may change my mind. It's not the same kind of basketball anymore.
Nope.
It's not, and it hasn't been for years.
Nope, not at all. And Shaquille O'Neal put it best. If a big does come around in the league, he's going to have a field day.
Mm-hmm.
He's going to have a field day.
Yeah, he is.
Because there's no physicality in today's game.
There really
not at
isn't.
all.
No. If Shaquille was playing today, he'd have a field day. You know, the last true big, and people are going to think I'm crazy when I say this, and this is where we close up shop here. You know, the last true big in the NBA, he played in Golden State. That was Andrew Bogut.
That's true. I'll give you that.
It was Andrew Bogut, and a lot of these guys. I'll give you an old school name for you. We really got to close up shop here. I'll give you an old school name. You know, the first 2 stretch forwards I really started learning about that got their outside shot in the flow of their offense. One played with the Pistons. That's Bill Laimbeer. The other played with the Sonics and the Suns. That's Tom Chambers.
Yeah. Perfect example. Perfect example.
Two perfect examples. I got to have you back on the show very soon so we can talk some more NBA stuff. In fact, what we may do and what I may do is have you call back in. We'll extend it for a full hour and turn it into a podcast and put it out that way. That's what I'm going to do for part of this episode. That's William Morgan, the host of the Sports Report, joining me. Man, such a great conversation. You know I got to have you back on.
Thank you, my friend.
We got more after this.